Welcome back to Top Dice, and we're on season 2. Woo! I'm FictionBoi.
We did it. Finished the first.
I almost said
survived
Whiplash.
another year.
We survived another year. I almost called myself Whiplash, but anyways, go ahead. Introduce yourselves.
Well, you start first. It's always you that starts first.
I said FictionBoi already.
Oh, okay.
Did you?
Hi, I'm
That must be-
Fiction's fatherly side.
And
Okay.
I am Fiction's lewd side.
Yeah, and then you get me. But anyways, we have two guests with us today, and one of them is going to come out, and they are all the way from Europe. We're going to introduce you to our first guest that's going to be on our podcast show, and he comes all the way from Deutschland, Larric.
Hello.
Then
Hey, Larric. What? Hello.
in Germany.
What was that?
Germany,
curvature?
yes. I'm just gonna.
How you doing, Larric?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
I'm too tiny for the seat.
It's
There we
okay.
go.
You can just
So
raise
you're
yourself
complaining
up.
again?
And our next guest is, well, it lives all the way in the UK, but I think he's also considered Welsh. This is BardicRJ.
Hello. Hi. Yes, I am in
Nice.
fact Welsh.
Yeah, I got it right. I did my research. Thank you for the tip.
There we go.
No problem. I'm always there for you, big boy.
Oh God.
Yeah, big boy.
So anyway, Bardic, how are you doing today? This is the first time you and I ever met. I've seen your content before, but we never ran into each other yet.
That's nice to meet you. Nice to see you. How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, I've seen your content before. I just never have run into you before until now because of this boy over here.
Yeah,
Yes,
ArcaDad
yes,
seems to know everyone.
Just ran into ArcaDad one day. I can't even remember how. I think you were just in a world of someone that I knew. Well, to be fair, that's how you meet most people in VRchat nowadays. Just you don't go to public worlds. You just
Just get invited to random furry party worlds, and that just happens.
Friends.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a whole network of everything that's happening all at once. But anyways,
Yeah.
I wanted to let you guys know today's episode is about Stereotypes Part 2, but this time we're doing it in countries. So that's today's episode. And then I wanted to ask you guys personally, I'll start out with Bard. What part of the UK are you from?
I'm from Wales, which is a country in the UK, and specifically South Wales. I live in Cardiff. I'm from Swansea originally. So yes, whenever people usually in the UK find out that I'm Welsh, it's always just like there's specific stereotypes that you get out of that.
And what about your background? Like what's your current occupation and what got you into content creating? Did you go to school for stuff like that?
I am a full-time content creator now. Before becoming one, I was a digital marketing manager, and I hated it. It was an insurance. So I hated essentially selling people lies. So I hated my job, hated everything about it, but the money was good. And then I decided I'd rather be happy than have money. And funny enough, I had to give a 3 months period of like goodbye to my old job. And the last day that I worked there was the day I hit affiliate. It wasn't in time. I was just streaming as a hobby. And then just gradually it ramped up, and I was doing IT freelance at the time as well to try and, pay the bills. And then streaming just took off. I studied media production. So before being a marketing manager, I was like working for the BBC, Channel 4. I worked on a Warner Brothers film. I was a runner for a lot of different things. I was in the industry for a bit. But I wanted money to pay rent properly and to grow up. And then I realized I don't want to grow up. I just want to be a dog on the internet. And now that pays the bills.
Yeah, that definitely does. Well, thank you for coming on to the show. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be with the Top Dogs podcast.
Let's go.
All right, Larric. What about you? So, what part of Germany are you from? What's your background, your occupation? What's your hobby, stuff like that?
So my backstory is not going to be as impressive as his. It's a little more mellow. I know.
It's not about that.
But yeah, I'm from. I always get my east and west confused. Still to this day, I'm 30 years old. This is embarrassing. Southwest-ish of Germany, like closer to Luxembourg than anything. So yeah, that's where I'm from. I'm 30 years old. I live in Germany. I'm currently working as a call center agent for the city's laboratory. Just, where blood tests and all that kind of stuff gets processed, and I call the doctors and tell them, hey, your patient has this and that, and so they can make their diagnosis and everything. That's what I'm currently doing, but I'm looking into switching departments and moving up in that company. Haven't been there for a whole year yet, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
You also do content creation as well. You have a TikTok channel.
Yeah, not as frequent as I'd like to, but yes, I do
You also
create
have
content
a
on
lovely
TikTok.
voice.
And thank you.
He does good singing.
Yes.
Give him that.
Oh yeah, he's a
I
good
try.
singer.
I try.
I just say you should definitely do some voice acting for some chocolate commercial. I honestly feel like you can make
Chocolate
everyone
commercial?
buy it.
Why specifically
Chocolate
chocolate commercial? You mean,
Because
is it because he's
and
German that has German chocolate?
Yes, look, a deep voice plus dark chocolate commercial. If he does voice acting for it, I'm pretty sure he can make everyone go out to Walmart and buy it right now.
Toblerone.
Let's just be honest.
Do they even have a Walmart in Germany?
We do not have a Walmart, no, unfortunately.
Well, that's not going to work.
Well,
Lots of
Howlez.
American things don't exist here.
So,
Okay, how
fun
about
little
this?
fact, actually. Larric came over to visit me in Canada, and one thing we really like doing during car rides is find like a musical and like singing together.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We also sang.
That was fun.
We also sang the song that plays in the VRchat World Midnight Rooftop a lot.
Yeah,
I taught you
you're
the lyrics
actually-
because you didn't know them.
Yeah, no, I didn't know them. You did make a cover of it, and I actually put you on my world so that it plays as a background for people who wants to.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he
Think
said
I'm
that
gonna
he
do
didn't
that
believe
again.
he had musical, and he told me he didn't believe that he had singing talents to be figured on YouTube. So I'm like, you know what? I'm actually going to put it on YouTube privately and then put it publicly on my world. And he was like, oh, thank you.
That's very sweet that you did that for him.
It is.
But anyways, now I'm going to start off with some questions, and we'll start off with Bardic. Hope you're ready for these intense questions. No peer pressure at all. Okay, so I guess my first question would be to ask you, what are some common stereotypes that people have about your country and the culture that you live in?
Common ones are, well, the biggest one for being Welsh is that we're apparently sheep shaggers. And there's an actual whole story around that. There's a whole story around that. Because so like Wales has a lot of like countryside. We have like we have a population of 3 million, but most of it is down on the south coast anyway. In most of the cities. A lot of the rest of Wales is pretty rural. But the reason why that the stereotype is that we're sheep shaggers is we have a huge population of sheep here because of farmland. But during the famine that hit the UK, a lot of people were stealing animals to eat them. But it ended up being a lesser crime. It was such a huge punishment of a crime to steal an animal to eat it. But if you were stealing the animal to do awful things to it, you would have a lesser sentence. So anyone who got caught stealing sheep lied to have a lesser sentence or lesser punishment.
My God.
So
God.
yeah, that went through. That ended up becoming a trope.
Oh,
Dang.
But like a lot of people don't know that. It's Yeah, the only time I ever really see sheep is say like if I go up like Penavan Mountain, kind of a deal, or if I travel more north. I don't like. I live in Cardiff, so I barely see it. I barely see sheep.
That is so.
Just say this wonderful story into your brains. You all just deleted a fond childhood memory.
Also, the accent is a huge thing. So when people find out that I'm Welsh, there's a lot of people that are just like, you don't sound Welsh, and what they're after is the, all right, but how are you doing? Like, yeah, I'm from Wales. How are you? Yeah, no, oh, that's lush. They're expecting that out of me. And don't get me wrong, when I'm angry or I'm annoyed or like drunk, you'll get it, and it's a little bit in my voice now, like because I did the thing of it.
Yeah, it kind of like reminds me of like. It kind of reminds me of how much Scottish people are when they get angry too. It really comes out.
Yeah, the Celts have that kind of a thing, but the Welsh accent is very sing-songy. That's the thing. So there was a comedian did a bit a few years ago that's just like there will never be a Welsh villain in a film because like German you get it. The German you get the accent's very angry. Like even Scottish, very angry. Whereas like Welsh is say like. Oh bloody hell! I'm gonna kill you. Like I said, like it's so sing-song. It's like I'm gonna murder you. So like you can't take that seriously. You can't take that seriously.
When I hear you're being angry, it just sounds so soft-spoken when you're talking. Like it doesn't sound intimidating.
Oh, it is all right. Well, like I can't pretend to be like that angry right now, but like there is something in the way that I growl on the U of the word fuck, and also the way that I roll my R's when I'm angry as well. That like, okay, people do. I'm known as Daddy Bard when like, not even Daddy Bard, Dad Bard. You know it's serious when Dad Bard comes out because Daddy Bard's flirty and sexy. Dad Bard, oh, I'm in trouble. It's like when your parents use your middle name to call you. You're like. I fucked up. I fucked up.
Yeah. No,
For
like
me,
your whole family just uses your full name, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah, for me, is when they use their full name. It's like, the full name for me, I was like, oh god, I'm in trouble. I'm in deep shit.
It happens in VR as well. When I say something stupid, it's like when someone goes BardicRJ, it's like, boop boop. I'm apparently taking this bit too far.
As far as I know, the parents talking to kids with their full name when they f***ed up isn't as much of a thing in Germany, I think, because I've never experienced that here. Like, I know it's a thing in other places, but my mom, I did some bad too, but she would never address me with the full name. I don't know.
Like, why don't you say something in German in the most aggressive way possible?
What do you want me to say? Something harmless or something actually?
Say something harmless, but in the most aggressive way possible.
Okay, so it's late for me, so I can't be that loud, but Schmetterling. That's butterfly.
That's butterfly.
That's butterfly. Yeah, that's the most like relatable example that people have seen. So like you can say it normally Schmetterling, but you can also like Schmetterling. You know.
Well, I think it
depends on how you say it. Like everything sounds angry when you say it like that.
It's aggressive butterfly. Sounds like Rammstein will say it like that.
Yeah,
it sounds. If I say so, me personally, my mother tongue is actually French. So, like, if I would say butterfly, it's papillon. I don't know if that sounds aggressive, but it doesn't sound aggressive to me.
Sounds like an over-the-counter medicine.
Yeah.
Or
can I have an extra shot of papillon, s'il vous plaît?
Yeah, take twice a day.
Reminds me of that Tumblr meme. Reminds me of that Tumblr meme that's like you can't angrily yell the word bubbles. Like you can't say it, and like, no matter what.
There is one French word. What was it? Avion, which is aeroplane in French.
Yeah, it's just plane.
And then how do you guys say it? Aeroplane.
Flugzeug, fly stuff.
Didn't they like do like a comparison of different languages, like with German, like the same word through like 4 different languages, but it's German.
Yes,
and
they
it's
did.
just the most aggressive thing ever.
Yeah, like ambulance, for example.
I mean, I know. I've only noticed a bit of German because my friend is fully Austrian, so whenever he gets like super high or drunk, his actual like language starts coming out, and then I have no idea what he's saying.
No, it makes sense.
Yep.
But I will say English is one of the languages, one of the only languages that I know of that doesn't call it ananas, but calls it pineapple. Like every other language calls it ananas in some way, shape, or form.
We say
but
ananas.
English calls it pineapple.
Yeah, in French we say ananas.
I don't know.
What about you, Larric? Some of the stereotypes what are some of the stereotypes that you have in your country that you go through, and even in your own culture? What is the most common ones?
Well, touching on something that Whiplash said earlier, we all listen to Rammstein. It's not true. It's a world-renowned band. I get it. But I personally, it's not my style of music. Another stereotype is what we just talked about with the aggressive voice, like those sounds, which I don't even think German is that bad with. I think Dutch is even worse in terms of how many times they use it in their day-to-day vocabulary. Something that I can think of from the top of my head is Lederhosen on Oktoberfest, which is more of a Bavarian thing. It's like a state within Germany. It's one of the southern states. But saying that Bavarian stuff like Lederhosen and Oktoberfest is something that all Germans do and love is like saying something that only people from Texas would stereotypically do. The entire country of the US does. It's sort of like that. So they have their traditions, and some of them caught on throughout the rest of Germany, like Oktoberfest and wearing lederhosen, but it's traditionally more of a Bavarian thing than anything.
Yeah. Okay. If there was any American this is the only thing me and Whiplash could probably relate to. Southern Americans, we get usually the most common one, which is something that has to do with your cousin inappropriately.
That's Mississippi.
You know what
that's just Alabama.
How a redneck finds his
actually true. Mississippi's your sister.
Oh God.
Look, I'm just saying, I've been into deep Mississippi before. I couldn't tell anyone apart. I thought they all related to each other.
Yeah. Or but you also you guys have a point that Bardic and Larric does point out. When you're very angry, your accents start coming out much deeper. Kind of like when I'm talking, hey boy, what the hell you doing?
Your Tennessean comes out.
Yeah, the Tennessee in me comes out boy, you better get off my lawn before I beat your ass.
With my 12-gauge shotgun.
My thing is, even though I was born in Florida, I was born in the South. My accent doesn't really come out, even when I'm angry.
I don't really consider Florida, Southern Florida, really Southern. I consider maybe Northern Florida.
I'm in Northern Florida. I'm in Northern Florida. Listen to me. My mom and my dad, if you ever met them, you can hear the accent in them, regardless of what they're doing. And my brother too. But when it comes to me, I'm just I'm not going to be a part of this.
All right, now it's my turn to pick.
So tell me about Florida, man.
Oh my God, not Florida man. Oh yeah, that's
just me.
The stories you can hear about Florida man is great.
All of them are me.
All right, let me gotta pick on stream now. So tell me, how is that Canadian bacon treating it today?
Oh, f*** off. So, he likes to aggravate me. So, if you guys don't know, I'm from the province of Quebec in Canada, where we actually speak mostly French. So, English is actually a mother tongue for me. I'm very fluid at it because I've been playing Halo 3 since I was 12 or 13 years old, and I was playing with a bunch of American friends. But one of the most common stereotypes you hear about Canadians is maple syrup, which I put that on everything. Coffee.
You do?
I cook my eggs in maple syrup. It's really
the stereotype doesn't necessarily help when you're the cause of it.
Well, sometimes you gotta embrace your own culture, and if you cannot laugh at others, you cannot be laughed at. I just own it. Dude,
if it doesn't help, anyways, I can make fun of my own roommate Coltyn, who's a Filipino. We always have rice in the house.
Okay, another thing.
Rice is good.
Look, another thing straight, real correct about Filipino culture is their parents they want you to be either a doctor, a nurse, or is it a lawyer or what was it? It was one of those
Engineer.
other lawyer.
Engineer.
Engineer.
It's 103
Something
because
useful.
my brother's wife is a nurse because my brother's wife and sister-in-law is both nurses because of their parents.
So, to continue on what I was saying, so maple syrup is something that we really enjoy. I have maple syrup almost every day. I like to take pieces of bread and dip it in maple syrup as a breakfast in the morning. Sometimes I used to do that when I was a kid. We also have bag milk, which confuses the out of Americans every time we pull it out. Larric, when he came over, actually showed him on how. Larry, when he came over, I actually showed him how to use like a bag of milk and how to cut it, and it was like, oh,
No, you didn't.
So bad
You
after all.
didn't. The thing is, you didn't show me how to cut it. You just told me put it in the container and cut the tip off, and you didn't tell me how much to cut. So I cut a ginormous piece off, and then you just go, "Oh, that is way too big," and it just like spilled everywhere every time we tried to use it.
Just a tip.
So the other thing too is something.
I go all
something
the way.
Something very specific.
Oh, I can cut the tip off something.
What?
I didn't get my tip. My tip. I didn't get my tip.
You're gonna scare Bardic away.
I mean, same.
I got your
same, Same.
Yeah.
I did because
That's a stereotype.
of,
They're not dirty. We clean them. We clean them. What? That's going to more stereotypes. I was like, you gotta have a smelly penis, right? So like, I don't have a smelly penis. I take a shower. What the fuck?
Dude, literally, you go under the sink, you just like clean it for 10 seconds and it's fine. It takes 10 seconds. Just with
Wait, hold on a second. When did we start talking about penises?
Okay, so I'm just
cutting the tip
I wish
off,
that mine was
and then we
a because I
started
have
talking
no
about
sensitivity.
Whiplash. I didn't know you were Jewish.
cutting the tip off.
Obviously, I am.
So one last thing we're really known for in Quebec is poutine, which you probably heard about. French fries, gravy, and cheese curds, which is speaking cheese.
So
It's so good, dude. Number one comfort
so
food.
good.
I will fight you for it.
It's not number one comfort food. Like, listen, I come from the
onion soup is
country
really good.
that we don't use spices. Our is all like herbs and potatoes and all that stuff. We've got the comfort food down. It's a thing that I realized over Christmas. I was there, like, I felt sick over Christmas, and I was like, I really want like a good comfort food. And then I realized beef stew and or cowl, which is lamb stew. And in Wales, the like one thing that we have is say like cowl is a lamb stew, and what you do is like you make enough of it, and as you keep running out of meat like per day, you start just putting vegetables in it. It was a thing for survival, but the thing about survival foods is that if you cook them differently, they are the comfort food. It is like this big bowl of warm meat, veg, salt, herbs, and just you get some bread in there, and you're warm and you feel good and wrapped up in a nice meaty blanket. Don't be gross, but it's so good. It's so good.
Bardic, you like a good moist meat?
Good. It's a local meat. It's a local
back to
dish
penises.
I think you decided my dinner tonight.
Bardic, you're telling me you like a good moisty meat
Are you
slapped
offering?
on the plate? Oh yeah, I can cook pretty good beef stew.
Good. I'm looking forward to putting meat in my mouth.
I'm about to say, Fiction's always offering, but never delivers.
Like this.
He's like UPS.
Speaking of food, German sausages and stuff like that. So when I visited you and your husband bought these like super fancy sausages, and they were really expensive at your stores. And then we made them. You were super excited about them, like both of them. And I just sat down and ate them. Was like, this tastes like the most basic sausage you can get in Germany. I don't know what's so special about these. They were so expensive. And they're like, oh, these sausages are amazing. I'm like, are you kidding me? I eat this like every other week. Like, this is nothing special.
That's just some basic that you would get like at like breakfast.
I asked Larric when he came over. I asked him like, "Have you ever tried maple syrup?" And he said yes. I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "I don't really like it." I'm like, "Are you sure about that? Like, have you had legitimate maple syrup?" And he's like, "I think it is." I'm like, no.
I told
need to come
what
over
I
here.
said was the store that I used to go to had only 2 brands, and they were both horrible. Not imported. I don't know where they made it, but it's like disgusting. The one I had in Canada, delicious, sweet, like it should be, like I imagined it would be. So I never like went back to what we sell here. It's like you know your shit and you make good shit. Yeah.
Have you ever tried chocolate syrup? That's the American version
Chocolate
of
syrup?
maple syrup. Yeah, that's an American thing.
And we have
put it on
ham,
our biscuits.
not Canadian bacon. We have bacon.
I use
we have
that
ham.
for like desserts. Who puts that on
We put
biscuits?
it on our biscuits, and my grandmother.
Who?
On pancakes.
Obviously.
You put, like,
America.
You put
Yeah,
chocolate syrup on
pancake.
pancake and waffles
America.
with blueberries. It's amazing.
Here's
If you ever
America.
seen
My
the video
America
with my
was-
grandmother, you would love her. If you actually ever seen that video.
She's so
The-
sweet.
Yeah, your
Biscuits
mom
are
or my
overrated,
grandmother's.
though. American biscuits.
You actually did see
like
it?
I finally got to try them. Like I tried chicken biscuits and gravy, and I was there. Like the gravy tastes like salty water with cream in it, and this is a disappointment. And it's not thick usually. Apparently, your biscuits just dry, and I have no sustenance to anything. I felt really. I was looking forward to them. I was like, oh, if they're this big of a fan, and then your chicken is bleached. So fucking
But you will not.
weird ass country.
But let me tell you something. In the South, you will not be disappointed with our barbecue. Never be
I'm
disappointed.
going to Texas.
Okay, but one thing,
I'm in
one
Texas
thing,
in
one thing.
March. I'm excited. I'm excited for the southern food. I will say that.
I will say this one thing.
I
Gravy depends where you go at. Biscuits are made to choke you because they're all dry. It doesn't matter who you go to.
They're meant to kill you.
That's if you go to Red Lobster. Now those biscuits are pretty bomb. Go to Red Lobster.
And
get some. Those
They're really
biscuits.
good. So we have
And
Red
fried
Lobster
chicken.
in Canada.
I mean, those
and that's
kill
the
you.
one thing I really love.
I don't know. I prefer Cracker Barrel biscuits over
Okay.
Popeyes.
Ever had cornbread?
Cracker. Not cornbread
Maybe.
I'm gonna slap you.
I'm about to slap him too.
You don't.
Shut your mouth.
What is cornbread?
Okay, that's-
Like what is?
It's like the moist version of biscuits, but actually tastes good.
Made with corn.
I have had cornbread. It is not something I would. To me, that looks like a survival food, like kind of a thing. So maybe there's a way to cook it right. But I'm just looking at it and I'm going. It looks like a dumpling and a pancake had sex, and I'm kind of weirded out.
It didn't go well.
Dumpling.
Yeah.
Well, most of the good foods are always down the south. Honestly, I'm just saying that. Just saying that.
Yeah.
Besides maple syrup,
People in the North and the West
I
Coast do
import
not know
maple
how to
syrup
make
from Canada.
food.
Just
Okay.
letting you know.
I'm gonna say something. So if I do come to FWA this year, I'm gonna bring
Yeah,
you
that's what
guys
you are.
a can of maple syrup.
Good, I'm
Okay,
drinking
do it.
And if I can, I will bring you cheese curds.
If you Canada.
And you'll understand why poutine is so good. It's all about the fries, all about the gravy, barbecue sauce mix. Another thing.
When-
You guys wait and see. You guys will freak out.
I'm fine with cheese
So
curds.
in the
Cheese
UK
curds are great.
I'm laughing so hard
you
because I think of
have-
poutine. When you say poutine, I think of poutang. Give me that
Poutang.
poutang.
You know what irritates
In the
them?
UK, we do chips, cheese, and gravy as a combination, and it's pretty good. But when I try that, there is a poutine place that you can get like actual cheese curds, all that kind of thing in my city now. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm really hyped to try this. I want to know what the big deal is about poutine. And I ordered it, and I was like, "This is just chips, cheese, and gravy." There's a slight texture difference with the cheese. I've had this; it's good. I don't understand why everyone's freaking out about this in Canada. It's good, but like I was expecting 10 out of 10, not 7 out of 10.
So here's the thing. Okay. Poutine was invented in Quebec. You have to try the one in Quebec. Now, again, not every place is good. Don't go for McDonald's poutine because this is trash, okay?
No.
We have it at McDonald's.
McDonald's
Not
makes
good.
poutine.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
they do. And you can have
Imagine.
buffalo
Please tell me it's
chicken
the
poutine, which is good.
McPoutine. Please tell me it's called the McPoot.
No, it's just poutine. It's just poutine.
The
I'm hungry.
The McPoot.
But
The mixed food. Oh, God, that'd be wonderful.
hopefully, if you want to go to grab a good poutine, you got to go to those old like those potato shacks they have on the road, and they look kind of weird and iffy. You need those soft, big, thick cut French fries. These are the good one. If you go for the crunchy French fries with the gravy, they'll become mushy and soggy. That's gross. Nobody likes that. And you need fresh cheese curds that have never been put in the fridge yet. So they're squeaky, they're moist, and they they just melt in your mouth.
Moist.
It has to be done right. It's easy
I'll
to
give it a
fuck
go
up.
when I'm out there, because I am planning on going to Canada at some point in the next 2 years. So that's the goal.
You should definitely.
If you do come to Quebec, you could try my husband's restaurant. We serve gourmet food over there. I'm sure you're gonna like it.
Yes. Oh my God.
Try it.
You try that sometime
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
can
to
vouch
ask you
for that
guys
one.
another. I'm going to ask you, sorry, everybody, with another question.
Wow, I was
Are
talking
these
about
stereotypes? Yeah, we were. Are these stereotypes like rooted in any truth, or are they just completely baseless?
Well, the sheep one, there's no truth on that one. But there was a story behind it, which was the theft of sheep, which is why that was a thing. The accent one, I say like there's almost like I think because our accent is very sing-songy, and a few other accents that are sing-songy have a very similar trope done to them. So like the Indian accent, there is almost the people of that country are stupid, which we're not. We're pretty smart. We have our own culture. We have our own. We've managed a lot. It was Welsh people who made the NHS, which was like one of the greatest things that came out of the 20th century. And there's no truth in the stupidity kind of a thing, but I get like the sing-songiness because it sounds childish to a point. Like it's like, oh, you stupid. It's like, no. even like the way that I say no. But I will say, just to be from the UK for a second instead of just Welsh, the spice, the people from the UK can't handle their spice thing is true. That is true beyond no regard. Anyone who likes spice within the UK makes it like a big part of their personality. I've been one of those people. Because it's like, yeah, I can handle spice. You're all ridiculous, kind of a thing. But there are people out there that consider stupid things. We got Popeyes here recently in London, and someone said, "Oh, it's so spicy! It's so spicy! I don't understand what they do. They put like too much black pepper in it because it's so spicy." Like, I like things like ketchup and black pepper, so I don't understand what they're doing wrong. I say like, sorry, you consider ketchup and black pepper spicy?
That's not. That is not.
Pepper.
If you want spicy,
Pepper.
if you want a good spicy
I like the size
place,
of the portions.
since you are going to you're going to Texas, correct? So there is a place that you can go to. I'm not sure if Texas has Bojangles now. If you want spicy chicken, Bojangles has spicy chicken, but that's still very weak compared to what people like. I can eat way spicier than that, but that's also because I also have a boyfriend that's Latino, and he can make some very spicy salsa.
Oh, nice.
I love spice so much. I love spicy stuff so much.
I really like spice, but when I went to Chicago for MFF, I went to this pizza place, got a spicy pizza. I was very excited, but it was very oily. It was just like covered in oil, and I was like, okay, I'm in America, it's whatever. I've never had that cliche thing that I hear from Americans. It's just like, say like, oh, you're going to regret eating that when it's on its way back out. And I've never had that before. Until I went to America and I tried a mildly spicy pizza. And I was like there the next day, just like, yep, doing my business. And I was like, what's going on? Oh, what? Oh, okay. And I was like, why is my butthole hurt? And then I realized it was the amount of oil that just like lubed up my insides the wrong way and just...
I like how you consider that the wrong way.
Well, I prefer to be lubed up the other way. You know?
Dude, your butthole
I get you. Okay.
Nope.
Oh my God.
Not again. You did it again.
I did it again. I really tried this time to not do it. You said because I hate those index controllers sometimes. This thumbstick is so vague.
But now I'm gonna ask Larric. So tell me, do you guys like to throw a lot of sausage parties?
I should slap you for that. I should slap you for that.
I should slap you for that.
Says the wholesome one. Says the wholesome one.
Well,
Oh my God.
there is a stereotype about Germans being particularly kinky. There
you
is
obviously.
truth in that
Shut up,
because
you
they
are.
are
You
like,
Yeah.
You guys
Larric,
are.
you're full of it.
well, not all
Lark,
of us.
you're-
I walked past a kink party nowhere near the FurCon at Berlin. Like when I went to Berlin, it was like 2 days before the con starts, and just a whole street of people packed up in leather suits and harnesses and collars. I was like, "Good for you, sweetie." I'm
That's
proud of you.
that's because it's Berlin. That's the problem about Berlin. That's why I hate it that Eurofurns is in Berlin, because Berlin is like, you know, the petri dish of like, you know, that's where everything is. That's why I like to stay away from that, because I hate it. It's just, you know, people do what they want to do. You can do that without me. I don't need to be a part of that. And Cologne is sort of the same, because Cologne is considered like the gay capital of Germany. So like, you know, that's where most of that stuff happens. But I like to stay away from those places because
You still haven't answered if you throw sausage parties. I'm still waiting on that.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I will.
Nah, he goes to them.
won't.
He goes
I
to
will
them.
throw a sausage party with maple
The thing
syrup.
is, whenever this
have a good
the
barbecue
reason
at
why I
home.
wanted to clarify this. Okay, so you can blame Good Mythical Morning for this. If anybody's ever seen Good Mythical Morning, they were actually having an episode about eating sausages. But apparently, it's a German thing that they just go around eating sausages as a party.
no. No. It's not. It's
So
not.
you should get
it's
on
not
Reddit
like a
and link for that.
It's not like a potluck where everybody brings sausages. Like, no, that's not a thing.
Did you know? I'm not even making this up. So this is pretty disgusting. But they actually made a sausage out of bull testicles. I'm not even kidding.
I can't verify that. I don't know.
actually eat it. It's like
They
some
ate
people
it.
eat that. Look, I mean, people eat chicken feet and like chicken hearts and stuff like that. You can eat almost everything.
Ugh.
I mean,
But you
that
Yeah, it doesn't mean
I
you
think-
should.
We eat
I think
weird
the-
things as humans, okay? We eat weird things as humans.
I drink
Yeah.
pickle juice.
Some
But
people-
anyways,
Well, that's
Why?
not bad. Dude,
I love
you know
pickle
what you
juice.
do? You take, once you're done with your jar
Pickle
of like
juice?
pickles, you keep the pickle juice, then you make hard-boiled eggs and you marinate into the pickle juice.
ooh, that sounds good.
Sounds really
I like
good,
it.
isn't it?
Congratulations,
I know.
you invented pickled
My nose
eggs.
hurts from the smell.
Mine does.
Oh, you don't like vinegar that much,
I'm a
huh?
smart dog. I can have
I
ideas,
do.
brain smart.
I can't imagine how you'd be
pickled
like
eggs
if you're
are a
eating
thing
Lay's
already.
vinegar and salt chips.
Yeah, I know. I do that.
Oh yes, I like those.
Yeah, my
Those are
sister
pretty
did
good
that.
too.
My sister
Alright.
put vinegar on French fries instead of ketchup.
If you want to trigger
like what you
somebody
like.
in America,
That's
if you
my
want to
friend
trigger
does the
somebody in
ArcaDad.
America, Whiplash,
Yeah.
I'm going to point this out. I got to point this out, Bardic. If you
Oh.
do go to Texas, if you want to offend anybody, put ketchup on your steak. You'll definitely get told.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Ooh, don't do that.
I'm personally offended at that anyway. Because like ketchup to me is the cheap way of making something taste better. So if it's a cheap meat, cheap kind of dish, ketchup makes it taste better. That's just how it is. I survived my third year of university because I ate ketchup and rice as a thing. Because I had no money. Alright, you say that you get a good ketchup. First off, it works. Second of all, it's not just plain rice.
Hang
It's like vegetable rice in particular. So at least there's
And
more.
Coltyn,
to
how
it
do you
than
feel about
just
putting ketchup on rice?
It's
Dude,
fine.
if you come to Quebec
it's
and you
vegetable
put-
rice. It's good. I like vegetable rice.
You know, one thing that really irritates me. Something that irritates me. I've seen this in Quebec, but people they put ketchup on their poutine. I'm like, what are you doing
why
in
would
your
you do
right
that? There's
mind?
gravy in
What
there.
the hell are you doing? Or they put
Why?
ketchup on Kraft dinner. Mac and cheese.
Why?
Oh.
Can't stand that.
Oh,
I
no.
don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
No.
No. Sorry about that little cut off. We just had a little bit of a malfunction with the recording, so now we're back. Everything is fine. We're just happy we didn't lose any footage. But anyways, you go on ahead with the poutine, or the poutang, as I like to call it.
Oh, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's like one of the greatest thing ever invented, and I will fight you for it. Onion soup is really good, though. That is a very French thing.
I do love a good onion soup.
As well. Yeah.
You know, we do have an onion soup at it's weird. We have an onion soup place, because Whiplash, you know the restaurant. What is it called? Longhorn Steakhouse. We have onion soup there.
Oh, that. Yeah, it's actually.
And we
really
also have the
good.
onion bloom. Onion bloom is so good.
Oh,
That's completely different from onion soup.
Oh, the deep fried one where they like make it all like. Oh,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen that. I
That
want
stuff
to
is
eat
so
that
good.
so
It looks
bad.
like a sea urchin.
A sea urchin?
The fried sea urchin.
Yeah.
Sea urchin.
Yeah.
The fried one.
Urchin.
Sea urchin.
Urchin.
It's-
I don't know how
Sea
to say
urchin.
it. I mean,
And I just repeated
I mean,
it.
I'm not sure if it's urchin or urchin. Like, there's
urchin.
bunch of
It's
French
urchin.
stuff I say.
It's urchin.
Like, plaid. It's like, oh, I have a plaid
So,
pattern. Flannel. Plaid plaids.
Plaid.
I was gonna
plaid
say, I
flannel.
guarantee people say it differently from urchin to urchin. I bet it's just based off people's like language how they say it.
Yeah.
Well, I know in French it's
All right.
oursin with an S.
We'll see.
Okay. Let me, now I got to ask on to the next question.
We'll
So
see.
we're going to start off with Bardic again. I'm going to ask the next question again. So, okay, Bardic. So I guess my next question is that have you ever held a stereotype about a particular country or culture? If so, have you since learned that it was not true, or have you continued to believe in it?
Oh. Ooh, that's a. I guess. Oh, this is a hard one because they're like. You know, when you relearn something, I think this is the big thing of like changing perceptions on stereotypes and stuff like that. There are small little tropes that you find out, oh yeah, that's not true. But anything big, kind of a thing, that's gradually unlearned as you go through life. Like, there was a big thing in the 2000s about people from, say, like the Middle East within the UK, because there was like a big, you know, I mean, the UK is always panicking about immigration and stuff like that anyway. And there would have been stuff that I picked up from, say, like my dad and that. But as I grew up and started getting more involved in a lot of stuff, those things changed in my mind. So I wasn't aware that those things were changing. That in order to change stereotypes and change people's minds about a lot of stuff, it's not always, you have to make those big statements and those big changes because gradually they just become more natural in general anyway, within media and perception. So I'm trying to think if there's any of them. I mean, to target Germany, there are funny Germans, so the stereotype that they're not funny, kind of a lie. There are funny Germans.
Well, I
thought about that stereotype actually. Oh, go ahead.
I say, like, Germans, they can be funny. They look, like, very serious and all, but they can be funny. Like, Larric, I have a lot of time of sassing him. Like, all the goddamn time I sass him. He was wondering, like, at one point what time was going to be the episode at, and I tried to stretch the answer as long as possible.
It's a story. It's a story. Okay, so he was like, so we would have an episode on the Top Dogs podcast about stereotypes. Would you like to be on? And I was like, okay, sure, cool. What time are you recording? And he said, well, it's going to be 3 a.m. for you on a Sunday night. And I was like, I can't do that. So he was like, okay, I'm going to talk to the team, going to make sure we're doing it earlier. But he didn't tell me what time it's going to be yet. He assumed he did, but he didn't. So like, I'm just going to read out the chat that happened. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm just going to read the chat to you of like I have it right here.
Well, before
'cause
you
he
read
told me to
that,
prepare it.
I do need to do this real quick. So we got to do off with the question of the week, and then promos and all that stuff. So the question of the week is to the audience. Y'all know you're fine. Is have you ever experienced being judged or treated differently because of your country or culture? How did it make you feel? And also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be notified where our next video is coming up. Also follow us on our audio platforms. Leave us a rating as well, which will help us out a lot. Also, be sure to join our Discord and Telegram chat. Links of all these things are going to be in this. I keep forgetting what it's called. Link tree
down below in the doobly doo.
Doobly doo. Yes. Because if you don't, Whiplash is probably going to do something again.
Oh God! Are you gonna? It's okay. Yes, I will. It's my due diligence to threaten our audience, because why not?
Bardic, you can be part of the threatening experience too.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
To the
We just crawl to the camera.
Let's go. Threaten. Bonk.
You want to threaten them? Go ahead. Threaten the audience. I dare you.
Graduate. Yeah.
Just like him.
Alright, try it with the face.
Like,
Should we like leave and let these two do their thing?
No. Just
do you need a
room? He's coming up with something. He's cooking.
Do you think it's gonna be spicy?
Has it got black pepper in it?
And ketchup.
And deep fried.
That's all it's gonna be. All you're gonna do is see darkness for the rest of your lives.
oh wow! Embrace the dark
My
side.
old friend.
Exactly.
Bardic, you're more than welcome to go threaten the audience if you want to. I dare you. Come up with something creative.
My general aesthetic is I don't need to be aggressively like at people. My general bubble and aura can be go around find out. So I don't need to go do that because they should know.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Go around, find out.
Exactly.
Usually, like, Whiplash is like, if you don't do
This
that's
guy.
gonna be
Don't
a
listen to this guy.
consequence.
He's very gentle.
He's a sweet bee.
You don't know me. First time meeting me. I'll size up.
Hey,
I'll fight
based
you.
off.
I'll
Okay,
fight you.
you know you want to go? Okay, come here.
On the next episode, Fiction versus Bardic. Fist
He
fight.
goes to the gym as well.
I also
do.
am. I also did amateur MMA fighting. Come on. Let's go.
Okay, so before you start, make sure you kiss, and then you can go.
Stream, grab these pups and set them down.
Oh my God!
And Fiction is
Dang it! Dang it! You ruined an intimate moment.
No fighting.
Intimate.
I will not tolerate aggressive behavior in this studio.
You threw us. You're enabling it.
That is already violence. Okay, you chose violence, and I just
it
lost
doesn't
my
matter how
home because
strong
of
you
that.
punch. It matters how many times you get up. That shows how tough you are.
Oh,
That's true. But yeah, the fact that I can throw people, that's the power of being the world builder. You can give yourself some
Speaking
fire.
of stream,
God.
speaking of stream choosing violence, you know, the story.
What?
You little
but go on.
Okay.
But go on.
You
Yeah,
little
continue
shit.
on with your
So
your
the
little
story
chat.
about the time that we're gonna record this. So Stream just texted me out of nowhere one day. So for the upcoming podcast recording for episode about stereotypes, our graphic needs 1 or 2 nice pictures of you to make hype and teaser material for the episode. Do you think you could do that? Make sure you have good lighting, and if you can use the green screen filter, it would help the team a lot. Nothing of the time at all. I say, okay, sure. When is the recording session? 8th of January. Okay, did you talk about recording early in the day so it's not 3 a.m. on a Monday for me? And he said, yes. Okay, what time will it be? During the day, he says. Oops, hold on. Then I go, okay, what time will it be? He's still not giving me an answer. I should have lost it. No!
Oh, you lost it.
This is... Yeah, I need to scroll up again. Sorry. Okay. Okay, what time will it be? We chose a time that will be better for you and Bardic. And I go again. Okay, what time will it be? That way you won't go to bed too late. If your next message is not the exact time, I'm gonna kill you. And he replies with just a wheezing sticker. And my response to that is just, you slim It'll be the afternoon for us.
You know what
time.
You know it doesn't really help your...
Hold on. So you see, he still didn't tell me the time, and I sent him a gif of me IRL, like flipping him off. You probably have to bleep that out. He sends me that wheeze emoji again, and he goes, tell me. 4 p.m. EST. Thank you. 10 p.m. for me. Was that so goddamn hard? But like, it's...
By the hope,
That was a
I hope you know
struggle.
that the strong language that you just said, you're going to be blurred out with the German national anthem. I hope you know that.
No, I sent something Coltyn's way to bleep me out specifically. I requested one sound.
What do we blur out with Bardic? What would you like to be blurred out with? Because you did use a lot of strong language and
okay, I'll say these words. I will say fart and then shirt. But every single time I say one of those, the F word or the S word, you can just bleep it out with that.
Oh, okay. I like that. Okay, so now I'm going to continue on with
shirt.
Full shirts. Okay. Okay, so all right. How do media representations of different countries and cultures contribute to the perception of stereotypes with you, Bardic?
Sorry, repeat that.
Oh, how did the media representations of different countries and cultures contribute to the perception of stereotypes?
I think the problem is, say, like not many people know about Wales in the first place, and the media within the UK is just tries to minimize as much as it talks about us for some reason, because it's all British, keep calm, carry on, kind of British tea drinking, Queen, monarch, all that kind of vibe, and that's so dominant within UK spaces which is why I don't like being referred to as British, because I'm not. My entire culture and heritage is Celtic of Welsh descent, and I don't so, literally to the point I did one of those DNA things and the map comes up Wales, Ireland, Scotland, nothing in England. There's just no. So I get annoyed because to be British is to be English, really. So you guys don't know. Like a lot of people outside of the UK, they hear Wales and they go, "What?" Or they go, "Oh, that's in England, right?" And it's like,
I wouldn't have assumed that.
I understand what you're saying because, I'm from Canada, but the province of Quebec specifically is the only province where French is the mother tongue. And a lot of people from Quebec, they don't consider themselves as being Canadian. They consider themselves being Quebecers because we're kind of separate. We're different. We have a different mentality. We speak a different language than the whole rest of Canada. So I'm guessing people that they say Welsh people are British people, and it's no, it's not true. We're in theory I'm Canadian, but a lot of people they more identify themselves as Quebecers than being Canadian because it's something heritage is. And the fact that we speak two different languages here in Canada kind of makes kind of it isolate kind of peoples quite a bit. So I kind of understand what you mean by that.
Okay. What about you, Larry?
So thinking about stereotypes portrayed in our media, I would say that there are some that with most, or not most, but some stereotypes, there is truth in some of them. That's why they're stereotypes. I wanted to touch on something that I think Whiplash said earlier about Germans not having a sense of humor. That partially is true because we have lots of rules in place and everything's really strict here, and I can see where that stereotype is coming from. But of course we have fun. We can be funny people, but when I compare, I have one instance where I really felt bad for someone from the US. There was at Eurofurence last year, there was this dance-off thing, and the lady that was trying to hype up the crowd jumped around, be like, "Hey, yeah, make some noise, clap," and all the Germans just sat there completely still, not doing anything. And the people from the other countries, from France, Spain, Italy, they were the ones that went, "Yeah, woo, woo," and the Germans just sat there not doing anything. What the hell is wrong with you people? We can have fun. It's okay. So
that guy was clearly upholding the stereotypes about German, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else?
Something that I noticed in media that is not German, like international media about Germans, is the accent. Like, so whenever there's a German character in a movie or a TV show, they always sound like this, and it pisses me off. Like, we don't sound like that. Like,
everywhere.
I know, yeah, because like, a lot of Germans have a hard time pronouncing that th sound in the English language. It's very difficult for them for some reason, even though it's not that difficult to me personally. I don't know, but like that, I get where that stereotype comes from, but again, it's not everybody, it's some of us. But every time there's like this stereotypical German character in any show or movie and they sound like that, I'm like, I do feel kind of insulted by that, because I'm trying very hard not to let that come out, and it does happen when I'm drunk or something, but like, I try to keep that in because I don't like it. It doesn't sound great. I don't know.
Again, it comes out either when you're drunk or you guys are angry is when the accents really start coming out.
Yeah, because you kind of lose that control over what you're saying, so it's like it's more emotion in there, and then you forget about suppressing that stereotypical German accent.
The TH sound in the English language is probably one of the hardest things people struggle when they're trying to learn English. And from me, living in a province where people speak French most of the time, and they're trying to speak English because the rest of the world is, English is the international language, the TH sound is like really the hardest. So sometimes I like to fuck around with my friends. I'm like, okay, say, I thought that this was that. And like, I thought that did what that. It just comes out to completely wrong.
But the funny thing is, if people here try to imitate a lisp, it's the same sound.
Yeah.
And then they do it perfectly. So like, why can you do that? Why can you make fun of people, which is not nice? But like, why can you do that? But then you sound like in English class. Like, where does that come from? Like, what's happening here?
Okay, that makes sense.
I was gonna say, it is kind of like how the South, Midwest, and then Northerners all have their different versions of some words. Honestly, like, you live in the North now, so haven't you heard people talk differently from how we talk?
They don't say from what we say soda in the South, but they say pop, especially up in the North.
Yeah, and they don't have sweet tea either.
Oh, their sweet tea is crap.
Wait, they don't have sweet tea, do they? It's North.
No, it does not taste like real, legitimately sweet tea. But anyways, I'll have to have that another conversation. If you go to McDonald's right now and get their sweet tea in the North, it does not taste like the sweet tea you get in the South.
Well, that's the one thing that is fun about McDonald's, is that they really adjust their menu and their items based on where they're located. And one thing I can tell you is that McDonald's in Canada versus McDonald's in the States, they're totally different. They don't taste the same. But what they do is they source locally ingredients in the area, which is good for the economy. So they're doing things right.
Yeah,
I wish we had McRibs though, because I really we had the McRibs for a couple months.
Yeah.
No,
it's processed ribs.
You don't want that.
No, anything from McDonald's is disgusting. That's just my opinion. All right,
I don't get the McDonald's.
That's because it's American McDonald's.
Look, when you're hungover, it's 2 in the morning. McDonald's is the best thing to eat.
McDonald's.
It is the best thing to eat. And we're actually
there's a lot of places here.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: there's a lot of places in America where anything can be open 24/7. It doesn't just have to be McDonald's. There's other better places at midnight, like Waffle House.
We don't have that in Canada. The restaurants that are open 24 hours are very limited, and McDonald's is one of them. I'm not even going to talk about Tim Hortons, because Tim Hortons is a hot piece of garbage, and probably a lot of Canadians are going to be offended by it. But I know how it was, Tim Hortons, before it got purchased by Burger King, and then it started being international. Stuff used to be made on site, like muffin carrots. They would shred the carrots and make the batter, the flour and everything. Everything was made on site in the restaurant, and nowadays everything is frozen, already cooked. Disgusting.
Yeah,
it's not even good anymore.
Okay, so
honestly,
I'm going to start over.
McDonald's Cafe is better than Tim Hortons.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's understandable then. I'm about to say though, Waffle House is drunk friendly. Waffle House is drunk friendly. All right.
I need to try that. If I go to the States, I'm going to try that.
We're going to one. There's one only a mile away from the hotel.
I did went to a members only Waffle House, and let me tell you, it's 18 plus. It was funny though.
Oh my god. Okay, so hold on, thought I'm going to start off with the next question, which is for Bardic as well. In what way have
the waffles?
In what way have you encountered cultures that have challenged your preconceived notions or stereotypes?
Wait, repeat that again. Let me make sure they got that right.
Okay, I'll do this. In what ways have you encountered people from other countries or cultures that have challenged your preconceived notions or stereotypes?
I think, weirdly enough, it's when it comes to other countries like that aren't America. I'm always prepared to listen. I think my biggest bias has always been America because of your internationally ridiculous. But getting the biggest change that I kind of looked at America is if you look at America similar to the European Union, just more of a mess. When I look at America as a country, I have to view it more so as a country of countries because each state has its own like culture and vibe and personality. There are some that are very close and similar to each other, but there are so many that are different to each other. As well. So there are some things that apply more, especially in the American tradition kind of nonsense, that are more South-based, but also there's just things that you don't really realize about certain places in America that have really nice stories or worse stories in other capacities. And yeah, I'm very harsh on America as overall, but there are smaller things within that are very interesting factoids that you just don't really hear about. You don't really get to know those parts of those states.
Oh, it's interesting, like you bring that up because if you're being nice to people in Canada, they're very welcoming towards that. But if you're being nice to people in America, they think you want something out of them. This is how we are.
Well, actually,
I wouldn't necessarily say that's true because I did live in the States for 6 months, and I have encountered people that like, especially with what.
It would be the accent when like people come to like the UK and say like, "Oh, nice to us," kind of thing. Sorry to interrupt. It's the accent. It's because like because it's so obvious that we're not from there, they just get enthralled in like, oh, this person's not from here. But if someone with a similar accent, depending on say like somewhere within the Americas themselves, are just trying to be nice, I get why that would be. Sorry, but I
can see that point. I didn't think of that before, but I can see that point. But like specifically when it comes to like restaurants, going back to food, but like if you go to a restaurant in Germany, like you have nobody that like talks to you constantly. Is everything okay? Do you want anything else? Like you just sit there. You want your peace and quiet. So like don't bother me when I'm in a restaurant in Germany. It's just not a thing here. But like. And especially like in the customer service, like as a whole in the US is, I mean, I get it. Like some of them live off of tips. They need that. So they like dial it up and be especially friendly. Some might be like corporate policies that we don't have here. But like, you can also tell that people just in general, like neighbors I had, were just so much more outgoing and helpful and way less secluded and private as it is here. Like everybody does their own thing here. For example, me and the neighbors in the building that I live in, like we talk to each other on occasion, we pass each other in the hallway, but that's it. Like it's not like, hey, can I borrow a cup of sugar or something? Like that doesn't happen here anymore. It used to be way more common, but it's like, yeah, things are a little bit more serious.
So the one thing that is very common in Canada, we have a lot of like random conversation occurrences, like you're going to the grocery shopping, and then like the other day I went to Costco and I bought a king size mattress for a new bedroom, and the amount of people that I crossed over looked at me, smiled, and were like, "Hey, have a good night's sleep." Like random occurrences where people or just friendly? Do you guys have that in Germany?
Rarely. I'd say, like, comparing it to my time outside of Germany, it's way less inside of Germany. Like, in the US and Canada, like, I actually like that kind of stuff. I think it's refreshing. I think it puts, like, a nice little spring to your step on your day, because it's less depressing. Like, you have some nice interaction, you have some fun, you have a laugh, you know, pleasant conversation. When I went to Scotland, too, for a vacation a few years ago, people were so outgoing, and I really enjoyed that. You know, nobody here would stop me on the street with my headphones on and be like, hey, cool Zelda t-shirt. But, like, this random person passing me on the street in Scotland were like, yeah, cool shirt, bro. Keep going. Like, okay, cool. That's the interaction. You didn't have to talk, like, for an hour with them. That's just that little exchange. You feel good about yourself. They feel good about themselves. You had a nice little conversation, then you move on. I like that.
Yeah, that's nice.
I miss that in Germany.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to rush these questions, so that's why I kind of want to try to get this done. Okay, we'll start with Barda for this one. So obviously you two have traveled to the country, America especially. But I'm guessing my question is when you've been to America or any other country, did you have any previously held stereotypes about us? Or if so, how did your experiences there challenge or confirm those stereotypes?
I wasn't prepared when I went to, so I'll start with the Netherlands, because I haven't been to too many places, but when I went to the Netherlands, everyone's very dry. And I mean, like, they don't mess about, you say what you need, kind of a thing. It's like, get to the point. They don't like to be like, don't faff about. Say what you want out of that conversation. Don't add extra words. Say what you want. If you're buying something, there's no like, oh, have a nice day, oh, well, thank you very much, all that. It's just say like, that'll be $5.80. Here's your receipt. That's it. And it's like, okay, cool. To the point.
Like, no emotion.
So I wasn't prepared for that.
Robotic.
I thought that they would have been a lot more kind and hearted. I don't know why. Which is, I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying I thought that like casual interaction would be different. When I went to Germany, it's very much like the UK in 2003. I don't know how to preface that. A whole lot of smoke, and I wasn't expecting the amount of smokers. America, what got confirmed in America is how stupid of a system you guys have when it comes to food. I don't want to do paperwork. And you all seem to be like all like hating it, but not doing anything about it. And like, it's so weird that Americans, the biggest thing is say like, yeah, we're America. And then when you confront them with something stupid, say like, yeah, that's dumb. But we're still America number one. It's like,
well, to be
you're
honest,
self-admitted a country, but you still think that you're number one. I don't understand you.
That is,
this weird paradoxical thing.
Not all. I would say I believe we're not.
Honestly.
I don't even believe that we're the number one country in the world. Hell, we have our own problems too that we don't seem to address. Kind of like the whole obesity problem that we have in the country.
That's the thing. Yeah.
The obesity problem is
noticing. United States, America, they're starting to realize who they are, and they're actually changing. I'm talking to a lot, like most of my friends are actually American, and they're like, yeah, we don't really believe that. All these stereotypes you hear about, like, we're the greatest country on earth. They don't believe that they don't believe it as much anymore, because now with social media and the internet, they're comparing themselves to other countries. Like for us in Canada, we have free healthcare. We got awesome things like bagged milk and poutine and maple syrup, but you know, it's hard to live in the States because most of the people, they're either in the low class or they're in the high class. Like the middle class, the average middle class family barely exists, and they realize they're having an issue, and they're starting to be aware about it. Because before it used to be like, oh, America, we're the greatest country on earth, but it was only being said by Americans, nobody else. But they're starting to realize that things are changing and they want to do something about it. So honestly, praise for that. That's really cool.
One of the things that we as Americans like to do is like anything tragic that happens, we all like to come together. It's weird that we don't do that when nothing bad happens. For example,
you guys are good on that. You guys come together.
Yeah, we're really good at doing that.
Yes, that unity, that family bond, that friendship. You guys got Thanksgiving and you got like Christmas where you gather up, big families, big parties. In Canada, we only do like Christmas. We barely celebrate Thanksgiving. So you guys are really good at socializing, keeping each other together. That's really cool. I admire that.
One of the things that we did recently, for example, this was a big thing. If you guys, I know you guys probably don't watch sports like I do, but it happened in the sports community. A professional NFL football player named Damar Hamlin who collapsed on the field after tackling somebody after standing up for 1 second, and he fell backwards and he had a cardiac arrest. And the whole world of the NFL community stopped and just wanted him to come back alive, and he did. Thankfully, he did. So, congrats to Damar Hamlin. I doubt he'll ever see this video, but I'm glad that he's okay. But yeah, the whole community of the general sports community, just wished him the best. It wasn't just the NFL who heard about it; it was the NBA as well. And we just have that notion of anything that bad tragically happens, we all come together as one big group. It's a very American thing to do.
Yeah.
I also want to say is the thing how people keep saying America is the greatest country in the world. It's not the modern generation who's saying that. It's usually the generations before, millennials, Gens Y, whatever they are. And there are some millennials who do that, but they're brought up into in a family group, whoever they are in. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, this is usually how it is. They're very, very, very Republican, if that's the case. Well, living in the South,
something I thought was really strange when I went to the States was like with this whole like younger generation thing. I know that the military is like held really high in the States, and it's fair to do that. They keep the country safe, and that's a great thing. But something that I thought was really strange, I went to SeaWorld. Okay, so like. You see the show with the dolphins and the whales and everything, but before the show starts, they stopped everything at a kids attraction thing. They stopped everything that was happening and was like, could I just have a moment to get all the veterans in the audience to stand up? And I was like, what? This is actually happening? This actually happens here? They played the national anthem. They zoomed into every person standing up. And I was like, this is unusual. I'm not used to that because be patriotic in Germany and you're immediately labeled as, something. But in the US,
gotta blur that out.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like you get labeled as a bad thing, but if you're patriotic in the US, it's like, cool, great. That's the reason why I'm not patriotic about Germany.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying the YouTube just does not like that word, so we're gonna have to blur that one out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
no, it's not that. No, but in America, we absolutely do. We love our soldiers as just not even like a community, just an entire system. Like everyone in the States loves the veterans. It's just the thing. It's always been like that ever since World War II. Honestly, ever since then, every war that we've been into, besides Vietnam War, because that was when they were in the 60s, and no, we don't. But no one liked the war happening at all. So anyone who fought in the war was always seen as just the bad guy, even though they were taken by the country and taken over to that country to fight for literally, because they're being taken over by communism, or I can't remember. I haven't watched.
Yes,
I used to be a history nerd, but I forgot.
I gotta say, Americans, they do respect their veterans a lot more than they do in Canada. In Canada, our veterans, okay, you've been a veteran, whatever, doesn't matter. I don't feel like they're paying as much attention to the veterans. My mom was in the military, my father was as well, and and I know in the States, if you show your army card or ID and everything, you get discounts on stuff.
Yeah, you get discounts, on stuff.
Yeah. We barely have this in Canada. I don't even think it's working anymore. We don't
have
know what Trudeau is doing, but he needs to change a few things concerning the military in Canada, because they're not being as respected as the military men and women in the United States.
All right. So this is the last question I wanted to ask. This is one more question, and I guess we're going to have to call it a day. All right. So, Bardic, here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. So, how can we be more mindful of the way that we talk about and represent other cultures and work to promote positive and accurate representations?
from media representation, get people from those places involved. Like the one thing that I find really frustrating with whales is, hey, do me a favor. If you're gonna make a fantasy series and base it on a lot of Celtic mythology, actually base it off it properly and talk to people and get writers and stuff like that from here. If you're gonna like talk about Pendragon, if you're gonna talk about like all the wonderful like stuff that we have in Celtic mythology, do it properly. Thank you. Like that is like part of our culture. Do it properly. Also, just to each other, don't take from each other without respecting each other, kind of a thing. There are people that like roll their eyes when they hear about like cultural appropriation and stuff like that, but that's a thing. It's like people who take and then just realize, oh, but I like it because it's cool. It's say like, hey, you should, but imagine like that part of yourself that you care a lot about, there's a part of your culture being taken for novelty or anything like that. It's like, understand that like, be appropriate with it, be respectful, because especially if you come from a culture that usually knocks those things down, especially like be mindful, be caring, and talk to get those people involved with those things. You know, it's about listening and asking questions, but understanding when it's okay to do so.
Okay. Yeah. And what about you, Larric?
The only thing I agree with what Bardic said, but something that I would like to add is just in general. Okay, this is weird. Like in general, don't generalize everything. You know, like take things with a grain of salt. Look into things that you are unsure about, and like don't make assumptions based on stereotypes you might have, because you could be walking into something that you can't walk back from if you do that, and you don't want to, offend anybody or anything. It's just like, be mindful of everybody around you. Be mindful that some people have different upbringings, and just don't make general assumptions about anybody, because you can't judge a book by its cover. That applies for everything. So.
All right. Well, I think that concludes today's episode. I am happy that you two were able to join us and give us your talk and your perceptions on stereotypes. Much appreciated. And we're going to have to end it on this episode right here. So hope to see you guys next week. We're going to figure out what video we're going to do. We haven't really gotten that far yet, but that's okay. We always come through. We have a couple of ideas. We just don't know which one we're going to do. But see you guys next week on Top Dogs. And that's a wrap.
Bye. Take care. You can do car stuff.
Hey.
It'd be nice to do a car episode.
We were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a car episode.
Cool.
So guys, don't leave yet, because we need to take pictures for thumbnails.
We already.
There we go. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, you want to take a? Actually, we could take a little group picture and then we can post it on social medias real quick.
Oh yeah. Get
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that too.
All right.
Yeah. Do it
For the
here,
Twitter
do it
and
here.
stuff.
All right.